had some safety cars this week. Will we see many more safety cars? Well, the Zandvoort Grand Prix is getting underway, and with assist here too. Oh, and it looks like Russ has either stalled or has just forgotten that the race was going, and he's lost an awful lot of places. He got a bit of a shunt from, I think that was, I can't remember who it was behind him on the grid. It might have been IIRacingLeague. But Timmy Dale comes out of the first sector, and he is leading this Grand Prix. Yes, he is retired, and that is coming out of the banked left-hander. On board now with Alvarez, we'll have a look, and there you see it, into the wall, wheel off. And will there be a safety car here? No safety car yet. Yes, he has left the session, unfortunate for him. And we still carry on. The car is cleared, and there is no safety car. I'm sure everyone is cheering at home. Chelsea having a monster start. He started last, he's now up to 12th place. Great start there for the McLaren, as is Mark D. Really good start from him. Up to 4th. Timmy Dale leads IIRacingLeague. Those soft runners not able to use that advantage. We saw Russ have a bit of a bad start. He's down in P9. But Spark, unable perhaps to use those soft tyres to capitalise. Two medium runners out in front. Lolza Pro and Hyper pit. Slight bit of damage that Russ may have, or whether that's to do with just losing downforce in general, but he does go a bit... He's going a little bit wide into these corners. He may have some damage that we don't know about. APS Appy certainly didn't have to break out his expert racing skills there. APS Appy now, next up the road for him is his teammate. Evening TD, who hates this track. Lovely, well. And Lecaras does pit, so he did have damage. Padge moving past Maverick on the straight with DRS assistance. Now Lil Semp on the back of these two. Can Maverick fight back? Padge crashed in Q1, qualified 19th. Having a great few laps. 3 laps done. 8 places gained. Very nice there for the Red Bull driver, who has a couple of seconds up the road, where he will find the AlphaTauri of Clouded Tadpole, who is currently holding on to the last point. Wouldn't say that either one is faster than the other, lapping at very similar lap times here. And it looks like Spark has dropped off a little bit this lap, so maybe it's just the inconsistency of the soft tyres, which of course do wear easier than the mediums, or whether Spark had an issue, or whether these two out front are just driving expertly well. Or perhaps a combination of all these things. Either way. Oh, and Dale is round, and that, you probably could say that's a commentator's curse. As I said, these two driving expertly well. And then Timmy Dale dropping it out of the final corner. Timmy Dale had the world at his fingertips there. Spin easily done. Actually, I blame Wiggles for that. He's a Hash driver. Wiggles put too much pressure on him. That's what I'm blaming it on. Anyways, IIRacingLeague leads. Gap is up to 2.1 seconds now to Spark. So Rhea is pulling away from Spark, who is still defending hard from Mark behind. Tucker up into P4 and defending from APS Zog, who now has his teammate behind him instead of leading the race. Padge up into the points, past Tadpole and Maverick, so Padge is on a charge here this evening. Watch out for him. I'm going to monitor that gap between Padge and Appy. For P8, it's currently at 2 seconds. Still, this battle rages. Can Mark get a move done on Spark? Mark and Spark, gosh, they sound like a boy band. And Zog is out. What's happened there? It's a safety car. And there he is, Zog. Crashing at turn 10. Safety car is now out. Rear pits. As does Spark, as does Mark. Tuck it into the pits as well. Teamy Dale follows suit, as does Take Her Easy. As does Appy, who will be behind his teammate and will have a double stack here. However, safety car is out. It will bunch them up. Padge into the pits as well. Picklin follows suit, as does Tadpole. We've got Maverick, who is the only one to stay out so far. Semp pits, Supermax stays out, Hyper stays out, Russ into the pits. IIRace we don't know about yet. Maybe oversteer? Yeah, perhaps. It's like that. Could have dipped a wheel on the grass. Supermac with a 5-second penalty for a collision with Appy. And what has happened there? Appy is round as he's exited the pits. So Supermac stayed out. So I wonder, as Supermac came round the first couple of corners, Supermac was then fighting Appy and continuing to race perhaps. Bit of contact, Appy's round, and could potentially have damage to that car. Safety car is in this lap. Everyone catching back up to the field on lap 10. And it's a very late call, and APS Rear has to decide when he's going to go for it here. Drivers behind need to be careful they don't go too soon. APS Rear looks like he's got it spot on, and Maverick has capitalised there down the inside of Mark, and he's got the safety car restart spot on. Maverick up into P3. Mark not having the best safety car restart from his perspective, as behind us we've got a lot of drivers going side by side. We've got Hyper, Padge, Dale, all following Take Her Easy. Very frantic safety car restart for a lot of these drivers. And so close to the back of the car in front. Each of these drivers need to be careful that they don't overdo it, get any damage. Nice move there from Dale around the outside of the Mercedes. Oh, Take Her Easy. A late lunge, you'd have to say, but looked like it was pretty clean. Got the car stopped in time. Both drivers giving enough space. Dale comes out on top. Wow, that was a very bold move. Oh, and who's lost it? It's Hyper. Hyper's round at the final corner. Just looked like he had to take the inside line off that banked final corner. IIRace into the pits, not having a nice home race. Lil Semp is also round, and APS Appy just trying to... Well, he did catch up to the back of the field, so he's had an issue as well in this lap. I wonder if he's had a bit of a spin, or maybe some contact with Semp. Lots going on up and down the field. Unfortunately, we can't catch every single battle. We've got a nice little battle for P3 here between the two Ferrari drivers. APS Rear has pulled a 1.2 second gap on Spark. Spark trying desperately to reel him in. Lap 13 next time around. DRS will be activated. DRS, there you go, enabled, not this lap, so Tucker won't have it on Maverick right now. Deciding not to go for any silly move on his teammate. Very smart decision there. Very astute memory there from Wiggles. Two Ferraris in P3 and P4. We saw that with APS Appy and Prev in the no assist tier race on Tuesday. And the more that these two fight, the more that Mark and Team Dale are closing up to the back of these two. APS Rear pulling away from Spark now. Gap is at 1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds now. So maybe APS Rear just has that little bit more pace, and with DRS assistance now, Tucker down the inside of Maverick. They are side by side, giving each other enough space. That's what we like to see. Tucker makes that move done, and now is going to hope to drive away from his teammate before the likes of Mark and Dale are going to look to close up on Tucker again. Maverick a little bit wide, those hard tyres past their best by date, you'd have to say. Maverick still has to pit, the only one who needs to pit for a mandatory pit stop. Supermac was the other one, but he is into the pits right now. And he's onto the medium tyre. And Tucker has got a second gap on his teammate here. Chelsea is retired, and that is coming out the flat. Right-hander, Appy, there's another safety car. And there is Chelsea's corpse. Is that too morbid? Probably. Well, let's hope his driver isn't deceased. But Chelsea is out of this race. He's going on to the hards for the rest of the race. Tucker stays out, Mark and Dale and Padge all stay out. Maverick, this is a gift for him as he pits, but he goes onto the soft compound tyre. And with 19 laps remaining, that will be interesting to see if he can make those last. I highly doubt it. However, stranger things have happened. And I've already said that phrase tonight. Safety car in this lap. I was just checking something on my computer, and Mark, that was a bad time for the safety car to come in at a late time. Mark is around at turn 1. Bit of contact there between Tucker, it looks like. APS Rear leading away on the safety car restart. And Mark, after having a very strong race this evening, finds himself at the back of the fields. Spark has also lost 5 seconds and is losing more time here, so I wonder if Spark has got some damage on that restart. APS Rear has looked in control of this race from the word go. Already has a 1.4 second gap on Tucker. Dale holding third and final podium slot. However, does have a penalty to his name, so Padge right now will be on the podium as Tadpole pits. And I wonder if he's got damage, because that's an odd time to pit. No, he's onto the hard tyre, so that was premeditated. Perhaps he wanted to in the safety car. IIRA is off the track slightly. Hyper needs to do well not to make any contact side by side through this corner. Only going to end one way, that I'm afraid. Just can't go around the outside of that corner. And Tucker's off. Tucker off at turn 10. Trying desperately not to get in the way. That's a bit of front wing off his car, so he'll need to probably pit. And that has now released IIRacingLeague into a 3-second advantage out front. Team Dale still has Padge behind him, who I have to say is looking a very strong contender for driver of the day as it stands. Padge on identical tyres as Dale. Needs to be careful. Maverick is now past Russ for P4. And I'll tell you what, if Maverick can make a miracle here and make those soft tyres last, could be in with a shout here of a podium. Will they last to the end? I highly doubt it, but if a safety car comes out, who am I to say no? Maverick is the only one who will really know. If his rear pits, we did expect to see him into the pits, as we do Lil Semp. And that releases Team Dale into the lead of this race. But as it stands, Padge is doing the last to first challenge. And Dale with that 5-second time penalty. Padge is your net leader. IIRacingLeague onto the mediums for the final stint of this race for the last 15 laps. And I wonder where IIRacingLeague can get to. All the drivers in front of him have 5-lap-old tyres. So Rhea will have a distinct advantage. Tadpole into the pits and a 5-second penalty onto his time. Hyper is round again. Hyper not having the best of race here tonight. Padge's John B. conspiracy. IIRacingLeague Appy out of nowhere. He's passed Russ up into P4. And now on the back of Maverick here. SLR Hicklin, time penalty. Multiple warnings, and here comes IIRacingLeague Appy. Thinks better of it. It's Mexico versus the Netherlands for P3. Padgestic is doing a Hamilton. Indeed, we won't give anything away about what happened at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Indeed, and we saw how quick Appy was on Tuesday night, and he didn't even have a setup on, so imagine how quick he can be this evening with a setup on. Unless he forgot to put one on himself. Again, that would be ironic, wouldn't it? Appy within striking distance. We've also got SLR Hicklin defending hard from Supermac and Rhea, who has just pitted for brand new tyres. So, go on board with Appy down the main straight, and it looks like he is close enough to Maverick. Pulls out to the inside line, gets that move done very nicely indeed. But as for IIRacingLeague, he's going to have the best exit off of that final corner. But 2 cars ahead of him, Supermac with DRS, bit of contact there, And it looks like APS Happy has got past the pair of them. Inside line into turn 3. Has to force to the outside for the bank turn 4. Happy could swing this out. And beautifully done there, APS Happy. 2 places in 1 sector. Oh, and the 2 Williams collide. Supermac is out of the race. Oh, and rule number 1 is don't crash into your teammate. That will bring out another safety car. And this is music for the leading 2. For Dale and Padge, they can ditch those hard tyres and put on a set of probably soft tyres at this point. But collision, and that is not helpful for either of them. Padge stays out. A bold call. Timmy Dale, 3-second time penalty. APS Happy staying out. His tyres can go to the end, so he's not too bothered. Padge thinks my tyres can go to the end. I'm not too bothered. APS Rhea, no surprise, he's staying out. Hicklin is staying out too. Maverick will exit the pits in 5th. Or will he? Yes, he will. Take her easy. And I wonder if we're going to get any very late safety car calls. Padge is your race leader, but he is on 15-lap old hard tyres, so he has a job to do here to defend for the remaining 10 or 11 laps. APS Happy recently pitted onto those mediums and should be in relatively good condition, and we've seen him fight his way back up the field. So expect to see from 27 points to 43 points. Safety car is in this lap. Padge will back up the field. And Padge will do well to defend here from the 2 behind on mediums. He's gone now, and it looks like he's timed that to absolute perfection, but here come the 2 medium runners, Rhea and Happy. Padge has judged that perfectly, but he hasn't quite judged turn 1 perfectly. He's round at turn 1, he's into the wall, and slight contact. And that is ever so unlucky for Padge, who has had an excellent race. P19 to P1 on the restart. And that is desperately unlucky. And because the field is bunched up, there may be enough time to clear that car without a safety car coming out, and that could be good news for the likes of Happy and Rhea, who are now the 2 leaders of this race. Rhea looking for a move on Happy. Let's not forget Rhea has been in fine form this evening, both in qualifying and in the race, and is a very strong contender for driver of the day. He's done a U. Goodness. No DRS until lap 3 of the safety car restart. This is the 2nd lap, so one more time around and then DRS will be activated, and maybe Rhea will have a good shot at getting past APS Happy, who has been on those medium tyres 6 laps longer, and that could be the difference between winning and finishing 2nd here. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Hyper now looking for a move, and that is a very bold place to go for a move. He's made it stick. I have to say, that's a great move. Well done there from Hyper. Very brave to go side by side through that flat out section. And he's made it stick. Maverick now on new tyres on the back of Hicklin as DRS. Around the outside. Squeezed a little bit onto the grass. Hicklin maybe can't slow that car down very well, being on those old hard tyres. And now Russ is all over the back of the Ferrari. Now APS rear. Overtake is engaged. DRS is open. And APS Appy maintains the lead. And Alvarez has crashed out of the final corner. And he is out of the race. And the safety car is out of the pits. APS Appy, sorry, on 16-lap-old medium tyres. That's the very difficult job of trying to get a good restart on Rhea, who has a lot fresher tyres behind him. Watch out for Russ, Maverick. They're all on fairly new medium tyres. They can use their tyre advantage to their benefit come the end of the race in just 4 laps time. Lap 33 of 36, we are back underway racing, and it looks like a good restart here from Appy. He's done well. Behind him we got Hicklin still defending down the inside. There goes Russ, and it looks like Russ has got that move done. Hicklin slots in behind into P4. Maverick and Hyper going side by side. I think Hyper just dropped back there. And round the outside out of nowhere comes Lil Semp. Oh, and a bit of oversteer for Maverick, or was that contact? Who knows? But Maverick is out of this race. And there may not be a safety car because they were all bunched up and they've all gone past the accident. Maverick is the 9th driver to retire from this race. Looked like oversteer. Yep, it did look like oversteer to me. But who knows if there was a bit of a nudge from behind. APS Appy leads Rhea by half a second. Spark losing out to TME Dale, who is on the newest tyres on the grid. He can make his way past Hyper. Could find himself with a reasonable shout for a podium here. Don't Willie swing around the outside. No, thinks better of it on this occasion. Hyper and Dale waiting in the wings. Clouded 10th pole pits from 10th. Much overspeed there for the Aston Martin. Needs to be careful he doesn't away. Side by sides. Bit of wheel contact. Hyper looking to go down the middle of both of them. Semp gets that move done. Hyper round the outside of the Williams. A bit of contact. Hicklin really struggling on his tyres. Dale down the inside now. He's up into P6. Meanwhile, this is now a 3-way fight for the lead. Russ is putting his foot to the floor. And now he's only half a second behind the top 2. This is going to be a very frantic last 2 laps. DRS is enabled for 2 laps. Can APS Appy hold on to what looked like a very unexpected race win, considering what happened earlier in the race? And Hicklin is out. I believe he's retired in the pits. Hicklin, valiant effort defending from P3 and P4. But will not finish the race. Lil Semp then is released. Hyper, Dale behind. Spark is still on that group, still with DRS. And let's not forget DRS is now inactive now. So Rhea not close enough on Appy. DRS now kicks in. Appy defending. Rhea Russ. Side by side. Hyper and Semp in turn 1. Looks like Hyper has the outside line. That is the preferred line for overtaking in turn 1. You do get a better exit on the outside of these corners. Hyper up to P4. Semp and Dale still having a fight. Spark now take her easy on the back of this group as well. 3 Dutchies on the podium, indeed it is. But which order will they be? Let's join for the last lap. Appy still defending for his life. Should have enough ERS to play with here, considering the late safety car. But Rhea and Russ will have DRS. Round the outside goes Rhea. A little bit forced onto the curb, and he's round. Russ is now up into P2, and APS Appy looks like perhaps he has won this race. But coming out the final corner, Russ looks like he's now got a better exit. He will have some DRS to the line, but will it be enough? It's a close finish, but APS Appy wins his home Grand Prix. It should have, maybe could have been 3 Dutch on the podium. But APS Rhea has to settle for 4th after a bit of a spin on the final lap, going for the move. I think APS Rhea will definitely be our driver of the day. He drove flawlessly in quali and the race, and had it not been for that slight moment on the last lap, could have, should have, maybe would have definitely had a podium. And maybe that wasn't his fault, who knows. But